this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts. Never mind the mess here on the side. I could actually move my camera over a little bit, but this is what my table looks like at the moment because I've been busy crafting and haven't done enough tidying. But never mind. This today is another little project for enjoying smaller projects, doing smaller scale pictures. And apologies for those who don't like my Lavinia stamps. I'm going to use them again because I enjoy them at the moment, but you could do the same project with other stamps. You could use pattern paper because I'm creating 2 treat boxes today. I want to create one. If I say boxes, it's like a little tag with a contained box. I want to create one which is a slightly open one that I can use for some treats like a Lindor ball. Not allowed, if I don't know if I'm allowed to mention the brand, or like a Ferrero Rocher. And then I want to create another one for a lip balm. I've got 2 different sizes here. I think I will create one for the bigger one, which will also potentially obviously hold the smaller one. But I think that would be nice. So 2 little gift boxes, something you can give away for Christmas. So I will stay within the Christmassy theme. And today I will use mine, where have I put them? I will use that robin, I think that's Bobby, and I will use the bigger mistletoe. The first thing I need to do is put down some ink. And because I've used my gel plate in the last 2 videos, I thought I'd just do some basic ink blending. And I've chosen 2 Christmassy colours, well, sort of Christmassy. I've got the Emperor Red here, and because I don't have a good Christmas green in my element selection, I'm using the Lucky Clover from the Distress Ink range. Any water reactive ink is fine for this technique. But you could create the background with different techniques. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be that. I'm just contemplating actually whether I should do some stenciling as well. I might just do that. So, and all I'm doing now really is to put some ink down, and I want to do this, you can see how juicy it is, in sort of stripy version. I'm not fussed about how messy it is because I will put some water on this afterwards. So I could have gone down like this. I'm really not bothered because this will be the background. Apologies if there are any noises in the background. The bin men are just out and about. And I'm not even going to the edges here because I know I will cut this down a little bit afterwards. So I think I'm just doing one more red one here. And yes, this is not perfect. It's not about that sometimes when we're crafting. This is just to get some ink down. I'm rubbish at ink blending anyway, but you will see afterwards it doesn't really matter. As long as we've got plenty of ink on there to be shifted by the water. So, and I'll leave that at that. I'm looking for the lid. I think it's a brain fog morning. So, it was just there. This one, I don't even know when we used this one last. I expect this to be very juicy. Yeah, but it's a lovely green and it blends nicely, as you can see. So I'm going onto this with a really light application, and when the ink has seeped into it, I just increase the pressure a little bit. So I'm doing one more row here, and I'm leaving this in real time in the video so you can see how quickly you can put down the ink. Also, the reason why I'm not putting them next to each other, that will just get muddy, that will just turn into brown. So I'd rather leave these a little bit like candy cane. Contemplating whether I need a little bit more green there, but no, I'll leave it like this. So I'm now coming in with my water bottle, Hope I've got enough water in there. And all I'm doing is I'm spritzing this. It's a finish mist. So, but that is great for when you've got rubbish ink blending anyway. Oh, there's a bigger splat. Need to move my nozzle about a little bit. Yeah, that's a finer one. So I'm going in between as well, so that the ink can shift a little bit. So, and then it's knowing when to stop. Yeah, so I'm going to, hope I haven't gone out of focus there. The camera's been a bit funny lately. Let me just move this down a little bit. So I don't know if you can see specks appearing. So I'm going to leave this to dry now. I could use my heat tool, but I find I get a flatter result if I just leave this to sit. If you get any puddles that you don't like, you can mop them up with some tissue paper, but I actually like the fact that it's moving here. And as I said, I'll leave this to dry, I don't know, for about half an hour, maybe an hour. I will quickly have breakfast whilst this is dry. Just popping in again. I just went into this area again where it was really dark. I've just taken my nozzle off and I've just dabbed a little bit of water on there to basically loosen this up a little bit, the ink. I might not use the spot, but that was a bit too dark for me to stamp on, especially if I have, like, you know, like the berries here that are see-through. If you've got a solid image, this might not matter. So my panels are fairly dry. I've only just, I don't even know, might be an hour later than it was before. Just had breakfast and put dinner in the slow cooker. So I've cut them down to 10 inches in length. This is really preference. There is the option to have the actual boxes shorter, but I just thought I'd go for 10 inches. It's good to have an even or a defined length, so it's easier to know where to score. And the one for the lip balm, I cut that to 3 inches wide. I had a look at my lip balm. We will create a box for the inside, so this is just the outer casing. But with the Ferrero Rocher, I will create the actual case from this panel, so I left that at 4.5 inches. I'm being generous, measuring 1.5 inches for the suite. It might be a bit smaller. I don't have one here to test it, but I think that will be fine. So we now need to do some scoring. I just get my scoreboard ready and then I tell you which measurements we need. For the lip balm, I'm allowing 1 inch in width. It's not really 1 inch wide, but I think that would be fine. Otherwise, it might get a bit too tight, and this is the easiest. So this is 10 inches long. So I go on to the 5 inches, keep that in mind, and then just go at half on either side. So this is 4.5 and 5.5. So if you've got a longer piece like 11 inches, you go on to 5.5 for the middle of the 11 inches and then score at 5 and 6 and so on. It's really up to you. So that's all we need for this one here. Just burnish that a little bit. It's still a little bit damp, but as I said, it's fine for scoring and it will be fine for stamping. So with the other one, for the chocolate, we do the same sort of thing, find the middle, which is 5, but for this one, as I said, I want to allow 1.5 inches, so I need to find that around here. So, and this is where my brain usually goes wrong. I think it's, let me just use my ruler, because I think it's 4 3/8, wrong way around, to the other one. This is where it's better to have a different measure, and I'm rubbish with inches when it comes to that. So, nope, I need 1.5 inches. Okay, let me get my brain into gear. Apologies for that. So I had to work it out with a pencil on the back. So we need to score at 4 1/4 and 5 3/4. So turn it the other way around. 4 1/4 and 5 3/4, and then that gives us the 1.5 inches. So, and we also score it at 1.5 on either side. So it's 1.5 here and 1.5 here. So I don't know if the camera picks up, probably from the back here. So I show you a little bit later how we cut it, but this now defines where we can actually stamp, because these panels will be mostly cut away. I'm starting with this one here. I've got my robin ready. I even thought I could use the other robin for the back, or I can decide afterwards which side I want, front or back, or whether it doesn't really matter. So I'm stamping him down here at the bottom, staying within these 2 score lines. And by the way, I'm not stamping too close to the top, because this is where we will have a hole to put the box together. As always, leave the stamp on the paper for a moment, because we've already got ink down here and we need this to seep into the paper. There we go. That's lovely. So yeah, I think I will definitely do the other one on the other side, and I think I will quickly do this off camera. You don't need to see me stamp all those. So I will stamp a little bit of the mistletoe here at the top, and I've also got the word joy. I think I'll squeeze that in there. So I'm just stamping on this panel and on this panel here. I have stamped both my panels. I just want to show you something with this. First of all, I've got a little speck here. I think I've got my finger into the ink pad, but it doesn't really matter. But because I want to colour this in now, and if I'm worried about mixing my colours with the green, I can take some of that ink off. And I've just got a brush, I've got some water here, and I can apply the water over here. And because it's water reactive, it'll move. And then I can do some full bleaching and take some of this ink off. Doesn't take it off completely. If you want a really clear image, you can do some masking beforehand, but at the moment for me, my projects are about being quick, not too fussy, so I might have to leave the water to sit for a moment, and then I can dab that off. So it's not getting rid of it completely, but it definitely makes it a little bit smoother. I will leave that to dry though for a moment before I come in with my colours here. But I just want to show you, you can work on the inks as they are. I have just got my Kuretake pens ready here. You can use the Elements inks, just mix with water, just put some on an ink acrylic block, or you can use crayons, whichever you like, or you can leave them as they are because they have got lovely details already. So I've just picked a this is like a beige thing, 72. Do they actually? Oh, it's called beige. This is 65, which is a mid brown. And then I just picked this one, orange, which is number 70. And I just want to colour in the robin just a little bit. So just give him a little bit of an orange breast, a little bit around the eye. I saw Jo Rice do that at the weekend at the Halaganza. She researched a little bit. I just want to put a little bit of this beige down here around this. I don't want this to go too dark. You can use some grey as well. It's just to differentiate a little bit from the actual red there in the background, and then the darker a little bit for the back. This might actually be too dark. Have to be a bit mindful where I blend that in. Yeah, I think for the other box I might choose a lighter one. This is actually very dark. But again, with Kuretake pens, you can take the colour off with some water again and move it about. I could just go in with my brush here. I hope I didn't go off camera. I wasn't mindful that I've zoomed in, so I can go over that, spread that out a little bit and take the darkness away from that. The other thing you can do if you want to is go over that with your Wink of Stella, or mine's called Clear Overlay, which I have mislaid. I'll find it in a moment and I'll show you the effect of that. So I will just colour in the other birdies, and I'm not quite sure yet what to do with the berries, whether I want to do some faux bleaching there or whether I just leave them as they are. It's just a little treat box. It's not the perfect card. I'll have a think off camera. I found my clear overlay. It wasn't really hidden, I was just being blind. So you can use that and just to go all over the bird there, and it blends the colours nicely, although the orange and the beige mix really nicely anyway. And then you've got shimmer on your birdies. Always go on that as well, a little bit on there. When you've done that though, clean off your tip so you don't pick up ink that you smear on your next project. So as you can see, that just goes really quickly. And I have decided I will just use that on the berries as well. That should give a little bit of a faux bleaching effect as well. So the colour underneath should shift a little bit and make them stand out. So again, I do this off camera, and then I'll show you how we create the boxes. I'm starting with the chocolate box. This is easy because this is all cut in one piece. So I have marked on the back, I'd say I just eyeballed that. It's just about 3/4 of an inch from this score line. I have marked a line here, here, here and here, because I'm leaving this on. I'm not cutting that off completely, so I'm cutting on the score lines, and I find it easier on the back because I can see the score lines a bit better there. And I'm cutting on the left hand side of this one because I want to cut it away, and on the right hand side of this one. I'm trying to anyway. Don't forget, it doesn't have to be perfect. And now I'm not cutting on this score line, I'm cutting on this 3/4 inch. Oops, and this shouldn't have happened. I just cut too far with my scissors. So I will have to put a little bit of tape in the back there. Well, these things happen, so it's best probably to fold that away whilst you're cutting, so you don't do what I did. So same here, cutting this off because this will create a little flap. Same on this side. I don't even have my good scissors. Having said that, the long bladed scissors are better for longer cuts to keep them straight. If you've got very short scissors, you're more likely to get this wonky. So I'm folding this away now, and then just trying to have them even, doesn't really matter. So, and I've also off camera removed the pencil lines here I had from where I marked where I needed to cut off. You could use these for different projects. Mine just go in the recycling. So, as I said, I will have to put a little bit of tape on the inside there, I think. Having said that, now because I will glue there, I think that will be fine. So, but one thing I will do with hopefully my good scissors, no, they've gone AWOL, just use some smaller ones. I will cut a little wedge off these tabs, because then this will look neater. So one thing I forgot to do beforehand, but we can still do it, is to burnish these score lines. So I could have done that before, it doesn't really matter. Advantage of doing it beforehand is you don't have to do these individually, you can do the whole score line in one go. So, and then before I glue this together, I want to create a nice shape at the top. You could cut like a tag if you wanted to, but I think I will just use my corner rounder on these. So I've got the We Are Memory Keepers one where I've got different sizes. I think I just go for the 7mm, and I like to do it this way around so I can see that I've pushed the paper all the way in. Because for some reason I always get one wonky. Especially with this one, if you haven't cut straight and if you don't have proper right angle, then that might look wonky too. So then I need to mark where I cut my hole. Just about there. Sort of in the middle, I'll try to anyway. Try to have them even as well. You could potentially cut them at the same time, but I think my hole punch isn't strong enough for that. So if you wanted to align them like this and you could mark it on the outside, you could do that. I just do it this way, I think. Again, I'm trusting that I got a good side. Yeah, good enough, because this is where we will close it afterwards. So all we need to do now is to glue these tabs onto the panels. You could use some double-sided adhesive for that. I will just use my Cosmic Shimmer glue. I've just spotted something. I think this is, yeah, I've got a bit of pencil still there, so I will just remove that because I don't want that to be visible. So, oh, this one has been open, but it's okay, it's still flowing nicely. So a quick grab glue is the best option here. And yes, we did cut the tail of Jemima away, but hey ho. So I'm doing one side first, aligning this there and pressing it down, then aligning it on the other side, pressing it down also from the inside. Give it some good pressure, and also you can put it on your desk. I know you can't really see that now, but I'm going in with my bone folder and I'm pressing it down, because the more pressure you give it, the better it will adhere. Then I'll just do the same on the other side. So you just fold these in just a little bit so that it doesn't get too messy when you put it in. And I think for me the liquid glue is easier than using glue tape, you know, like adhesive tape. So the quick wet glue, you've got a little bit of wriggle room, not much, but once you've got it in place, you can then do the same again. And I've lost track now where I needed to push. You probably watched the video and you will probably have spotted where I should have put the pressure on. Never mind, I'll just do them all again. So I'm just leaving this to dry for a moment, and then I'm getting some scrap card ready and my guillotine, and show you the case we need to make for the lip balm. So I've cut myself a panel that is 4.5 by 6 inches wide. The 4.5 wraps around the lip balm, and the 6 inches, they come from the 3 inches here, and then you need another 3 inches for the closure of the lip balm. If you have got a different width here, you need to add that onto the 6 inches here. So, and then we need to score this. I hope I'm getting this the right way around now. Yes, so first of all, we need to score this here at 1. This is the 4.5 inch. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's easy. That gives us a 1/2 inch flap. And on this side, we need to score at 1 and 2. And then on this side at 5. So I hope that didn't go too fast. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, and 5. So we've got 1 panel here, 2 panels here. So I just put my scoreboard away and show you where we need to cut. So before I forget that, we need to fold and burnish all these score lines. So fold all these and then burnish them with your bone folder. If you want to, you can ink this paper up, embellish it, but we won't see much. We will only see the top side and the side flaps, so I'm not bothering. And I just used my 300 GSM, but you can use a slightly lighter weight. So what we need to do is we need to cut on these score lines here up to this score line on this side, and then we cut at a slight angle here, so basically cutting the score line away and then cutting a wedge. I do that in one go. And then on this one here we need to, and I use longer scissors, we need to cut to this score line here, and I haven't built this box before. It's in my head, so I hope it works, but I have built enough boxes to think it will. And I still haven't found my good scissors. Oh, they're probably in a pile somewhere. So, and again here, I need to cut a little wedge for this piece to come off completely, because that's just the tab here. And then I just have a quick look. I need to decide where I want my closure to be. These all fold together and they will be glued. But this here, we will have the opening. And I want the opening to be, just thinking, yeah, probably on the first one here. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah. So this is the one I'm keeping. I'm keeping that complete. And the others I can cut down. Let me just think, so I don't do this wrong. So the second one will just, no, do they all be? Have a quick think off camera. Yeah, just making sure with my brain fog I'm not doing anything wrong. You could cut these all off if you wanted to, but I think it will be nice to just have 2 flaps here. So this one here, the second one, I will just eyeball this and I will cut it down a little bit. And the same with the fourth one. Actually cutting into that one because that'll go. This needs to be kneaded up a little bit and neatened up a bit. So, and the third one, I'm folding these away, I will cut right down to that score line here. I hope this is clear. I'll just show you the finished thing in a second, because that will be the top. And I will also just cut tiny wedges on these flaps here, because that will look neater. This one I need to straighten a little bit. So let me show you that again. So yeah, no, that was the 4 inches. So we've basically got 2 squares here at the top. We've got the flaps here and 4 flaps down here. That one I need to cut a little bit deeper. If you want to, you can be mindful and cut those score lines actually way but I think it'll be fine because most of that will be hidden. So one thing I would like to do, but if you don't have it, it's not desperate, is cut a little half circle here where this flap goes. So where we've just cut everything away, I want to use this punch here. And as I said, cut sort of half a circle away, maybe a little bit less. There we go, because then it'll be easier to pop the finger in there. So now this can be glued together. So I'm just using my quick grab glue again. I'm putting some glue here on the flap. And I'm laying this flat on here, can you see? And then I'm just folding this over. That's easier than trying to do it three-dimensionally and missing it. But before it dries completely, I'm opening it up, just making sure if any glue had seeped out, it might stick together. So, and then I can fold all these in. They look a bit too long actually. I might have to cut these down just a little bit, making sure I'm keeping the one at the top long enough. Yeah, that's fine, but the others I will just cut off a little bit because I don't seem to be folding in properly. So in this case I'm starting not with the top one, not with the longest one, just with this one here. And now my glue has dried up a little bit, probably left it open. So I'm folding this one over and this one, and then the top one which has got the original length, so it will cover everything nicely. So I'm actually setting this down here, and I'm using my bone folder again, go into this box, apply a little bit of pressure, and then that will adhere properly. And that's all there is to it. No, there isn't, because we need to cut this flap. So where we at the full length, yeah, we need to cut that just a little bit, because yeah, didn't think about that. So that the second square here, we can cut that down by half of that, and then also create little wedges, because that needs to be stuffed into. But I'm leaving this to dry for just a moment, and then we glue this into our outer casing. I just noticed when I tried to close this that this flap was still interfering with this one here, so I'm just cutting this a little bit wider so it's easy for the flap to go in there. Just do the same on the other side. So test that before you glue it into the case. Yeah, now it closes slightly nicely. So the other thing I did not take into consideration, by having the full panels here, this is actually a little bit wider than the panel here, so this will stick out a little bit, but it doesn't matter, it's homemade. So I also off camera earlier created the same top here as I did with the other one. So all I'm doing now is putting glue on these three sides here, not on the one that is the top of the casing where I put my little hole for the thumb. So this time I'm just using this glue because hopefully that will run a bit nicer. Again, if you wanted to, you could use tape, or you could use like the Collal glue. You've got a bit more wiggle room than putting this in. So I'm setting this down. Ooh, put a glue on the top there. I'm setting this down here in the middle on either side of the school lines. So I'm actually moving it over just a little bit because I don't mind the flap that is open to stick out a little bit. And when it's in place, I can fold the sides up and it should fit nicely, and I can press the sides down. Just being mindful I've got a bit of glue. Oh, I hope I wasn't off camera there. Apologies if I were. Just spotted that I'm still quite zoomed in. So, as always, try to give it a little bit of pressure. So I'm leaving that to dry now. And this one here, all we need to do with that one is put a little ribbon at the top, so you can put the sweet in first and then put a little ribbon on top that you can take off if you wanted to. You could put a little clip, paper clip at the top, or even one of those binder clips, something you can take off, or a peg would be nice with a ribbon. So anything that's easy to remove, or if the recipient wants to keep the bow closed, they can always, you know, open this a little bit and then take the chocolate out. So I've just got a little bit of ribbon here. This is from one of my purchases this year. It's really cheap ribbon, and I think the green goes with the theme very nicely. It's also got a few red berries on here. So, it'll always be an idea actually to keep it a little bit longer than you need it, but for the purpose of this video I will just do this now. I'm making a mess of it now. Need to take my time. So one bow going around the front, wrong side up, popping it in the back. Yeah, I think it is too short. So even though it might be wasteful, it's always useful to keep it a little bit longer than you need to. But you get the idea. So, and then with this one, same thing. You would put a ribbon at the top. This one obviously can stay closed because you've got the box open here, and that can then hold the lip balm, and you can close it there. If you want to, you can put a little greeting before you glue it in, put a little greeting there, but I think this is so cute. So I will just finish this off camera and put get my thumbnail ready, put a little shot here at the end of the video what they look like finished. As I said before, you can embellish them differently. I might actually put some nouveau drops here where the berries are. I think that would look nice. And yeah, the world is your oyster with these boxes, because you can create them with any papers, with any stamps. Yeah, and I think they're nice little favours for Christmas time. Yeah, and if you like these boxes, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. And I'll see you soon with another video. Rather than putting a thumbnail at the end of the video, I thought I'd just pop in again with a little outro and show you the finished version, because I need to explain a few things. As you could see before, I was struggling to create the bow, so I decided to put a thinner ribbon through the hole here, which also allows the recipient to hang it up, or I can hang it up outside the gift bag. And I just tied this little bow and just popped it on the front. I just put a little bit of glue behind the bows here, there and there, and keep that in place. I didn't put anything behind the knot. I always struggle with that, and that actually faces the hole anyway. So I thought this was a much neater finish. And on this one here, I think I suggested that in the video, I actually used some pearl drops. I've got these from Duff Craft. They're called Pastel Cream, and I just popped these on the mistletoe there. I didn't put it on the back. I could have done that, or might do that afterwards, but I just left it there in the front. And I used the same thin ribbon there. I've got a darker and a lighter one, and tied that together there. I just had a look what I've got in my stash. I'm sure I will find more the deeper I dig. Yeah, I thought I'd just show you that. And yeah, see you soon with another video.